Yes. Welcome to another upload brought to you by your one and only literary Pharaoh. I know this video is gonna get copyrighted because I play that song. I don't really care. I'm not making money off of my YouTube channel, but I kind of like to just introduce my video with some kind of music that I like, and just gives me a chance to kind of settle in versus just recording and just start talking. So I kind of just want to kind of groove out a little bit to that Gunna and what's the featuring some boy what's his name? I forgot his name. But Gutter Boy, not Gutter Boy, but you guys know who I'm talking about. It's Gunna featuring that Nigerian dude. I forgot his name. So yeah, the reason why I'm making this video, I just wanted to give my take and my response to the second press conference with Jake Paul and Tank Davis. I want to admit that the second one was a little bit more exciting, a little bit more entertaining than the first one. The first one was lackluster, it was underwhelming. But even watching the second one, I can still see a boxer in Tank Davis that's sort of caught between a rock and a hard place. And I'm gonna play armchair psychologist here for a second. I'm not a licensed professional, but I'm gonna just give my two cents and insert my 2 cents into the situation. I see a boxer who is caught between a rock and a hard place, and what I mean by that is that, in one essence, he's done with boxing. You could just tell his essence, his aura, his whole demeanor, even the way he speaks. He lacks that aggression that he normally once had. I don't hear that anymore. What I hear is a boxer that's just trying to cash out, and there's nothing wrong with that. So in one sense, in one element, I see a boxer who's checked out mentally. But then in another element, I see another boxer who gets triggered by what certain people say. Regardless of what he's going through, I don't know his personal life, but I do know that in the past he's mentioned things about, being a better father, and he's been boxing for all these years. He wants to do something different. Maybe perhaps he understands that the animal in him, or whatever triggers him to make him that animal in the ring, that beast nature that he possesses, maybe perhaps he's trying to simmer that and try to quell that inner turmoil that he has going on inside of him. And I think that's the battle that he has within. The battle is not with boxing. He's been doing it all his life. So boxing is not a battle to him. It's something that he does. It's second nature. It's embedded within his DNA. I don't think it's something he has to get up for. But when you are getting older as a man, and you have, he has children. He does have a baby mom, a mother of his children. And I know that the relationship with his baby mom is not the best. And he has, I don't know if he has a son and a daughter, or two daughters. I don't know, but he wants to set a good example for them. And perhaps Tank Davis does probably have an anger management issue, which most boxers probably do. They have that tick. They have that thing that if it ticks, they can go off. That's what makes them fighters. That's what makes them boxers. I don't think that you can get into the realm of boxing and consider yourself a normal human being. Anybody that calls themselves a boxer, that relishes, that embellishes the act of getting punched in the head, getting punched in the body, and going through grueling training and getting beat up on, because you're going to get beat up on. Even Floyd, as good as he was, as great of a defensive boxer as he was, he still got hit. He still got touched. He had moments in fights where he got clipped, he got buckled. He didn't get dropped, but in moments where he got dazed. So when you're in the ring, it's a high likelihood that you're going to get your equilibrium shifted, and that's normal. That's boxing. And I think what Tank does is what Tank does. But watching his press conference, I saw a fighter that's like, okay, I'm out. I don't care about what people think. But in the same breath, I do care about what people think. So I think that he doesn't even know where he wants to stand. I don't know if he's taking medicine. I don't know if he's taking psychotropic drugs, anything to, I don't know, anything to kind of mitigate his neurological responses. I don't know if he's taking inhibitors. I don't know what he's taking, but he doesn't seem like the same person. His speech seems a little bit more slurred. It's hard for him to kind of make out sentences. that mean, like, I work with children. I work with children who do take drugs in terms of taking medicine for their disabilities, right? And oftentimes I understand when a student is emotionally disturbed, and they call it ED, right? Emotionally disturbed, and if they're not on their meds, they're usually on 10. When I say on 10, it means they're hyper. They can be calm, but you don't know what the trigger is going to be. You don't know what the antecedent is going to. You don't know what antecedent is going to trigger a certain response from that particular student, and that's what Tank reminds me of. It reminds me of a students that I've dealt with where they could be totally calm. Like you saw the first press conference, he's playing with a balloon poodle. He's just toying with it, and it's like he's in his own head. It's like, I want to be here, but I don't want to be here. I love boxing, but I don't love boxing. I think it's 70-30. I think 70% of his soul, of what he's telling himself psychologically, is that I'm out of the sport, right? But there's a 30% that still cares about what people think. He may act like he doesn't care. He may swear at his fans and hurl profane epithets at his fans and tell them to F off. But that's because he cares. If you don't care, you don't respond. I always say to people, when you tell somebody, I don't care, you do care, because you cared enough to say you don't care. So he cares a little bit. He's not totally just done with boxing. He's 70% done. 30% he still cares. This is why I say he still cares, because he has ego. All right, he has pride. He does, in a sense, yeah, it's all about the money, but I think when it's all said and done, he does care about the legacy aspect. I think just right now he's going through things. And as I said before on the video that I made yesterday, I don't think he's gonna officially proclaim his retirement. I don't think he's gonna announce it like official. He's not gonna have a presser where he's like, okay, today I retire from the sport of boxing. He's not gonna do that. I just think he needs some time off. I think he's going through some things. He doesn't sound like a boxer that's all in. But I don't think it's because he hates the sport. I just think that he is in his own head, and he's getting messages from somebody. I don't know if it's from his baby mom. I don't know if it's from his mother. I don't know who it is. But there's somebody telling him that he needs to change who he is. And if he changes who he is, he no longer can be Tank. What makes Tank Tank is the chaotic nature that he deals with inside. Is the inner turmoil. It's the monster inside of him. That's why he's a tank. It's the imbalance of neurological responses. It's the impulsivity that he carries that makes him who he is. It's his imperfections that makes him a great boxer. So trying to fix him is taking away his gift. He's an animal. He's a beast. He has the nature to destroy. He's a warrior. Not all people are built the same. I had somebody give a response on one of my comments that I made, and I don't know if it was my video or somebody else's video, and somebody said respectfully, quote, he said, respectfully, have you ever boxed before? And of course I've never boxed before. And he's like, well, sometimes boxers, he's referring to Tank Davis, he says sometimes a boxer just loses passion for it, which is true. You do lose passion for it. He's been boxing since 7 years old. I get it. You lose passion for it. But not when you're in your prime and you really haven't proven. Like, it's one thing if you've KO'd the best of the best and there's nothing else. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Terrence Bud Crawford could have that. He can have that problem. He can have the problem of losing passion. But Bud Crawford's mentality is so unique that he's creating challenges for himself to challenge himself to see how great he is. See, you can't say you're great until you've put yourself through a test. Anyone could proclaim how great they are, but the true greatness lies in you actually testing yourself against opposition, against an opposition that you're deemed to fail against. What Tank is doing is just more selfishness than him losing passion for the sport. He's in his own head. There was a Tank that I knew probably about a year and a half ago, maybe a little less than that. He was doing another interview. He was in a press conference, and he had people asking him questions. And he said something to the effect of, don't quote me, but I'm going to paraphrase what he said. He said that his mission is to go quote unquote get niggas. He said that. He said, I'm coming to get niggers or niggas. He said that. All right, I'm coming to get them. He had a hit list. That's the animal. That's the instinctual beast and monster that I know of. Because now, if he went through that list and annihilated that list and destroyed every opponent on that list, and then he lost passion, I get it. But you can't be in the sport and you haven't proven your worth and then you lose passion for it. Now, I'm not saying that's impossible, but I think the likelihood of you losing passion for something when you haven't accomplished anything within that sport or within that realm, it leaves much to be desired, because you feel unfulfilled to a certain degree. And I think that's more what it is. He's just unfulfilled. But if he would fight the best fighters within his weight class, he would feel fulfilled, especially if he beats them. So to me, I don't think it's about him losing passion. I think it's about money right now. He may have financial issues. Maybe he said this before, that he doesn't care about belts or legacy, which is fine, which is fine. So maybe he just wants to be classified as an exhibition boxer who just fights these circus fights and people come to watch. Maybe. There's a lot of speculation, and there's a lot of assumptions here. I don't know him. I've never sat down with Tank Davis to have a conversation with him to get deep into his head. But this is just me on the outside as a fan looking in. I just think that there's more going on than just him not wanting to box anymore. I think that he's in his own head, because certain responses that he had in that press conference showed that he's fired up, because he would get triggered when people thought that he would lose. Something would just ignite within him. That's the neurological response. That's what you call a sympathetic. That's what you call a parasympathetic nerve response. It's something that you don't have control of. It just flight or fight. All right. Dysregulation. Somebody says something that triggers you. Even though you're telling yourself, I don't want to box anymore, I don't care what people think, he says it. Who cares what they think? Who cares what they think? Remember the first presser, the guy, some interviewer asking him the question about, people thinking, why doesn't he fight Lamont Roach and these other fighters? And he was like, who cares what they think? I don't care what they think. Well, Tank, if you don't care what people think, that second press conference with Jake Paul, you seem to care what people think. So he's back and forth. So when you have a person that's double-tongued, you have a person that's going through inner conflict. They can't cement themselves in one lane or the other. It's like they get on whichever lane, whichever frequency is convenient for the time. So at that moment, it was convenient to get on the train of I do care. But in moments when you ask him a pressing question that he doesn't want to actually deal with, then he's more so to the front of I don't care. So he plays both sides. And that's why his communication skills is poor, because you can't follow what he's talking about. In one essence, in one breath, he could be talking about something and you follow that. And then the next week, if you interview him again, somebody else interviews him, he says something totally different. So all we can do is watch his actions. What his actions are telling me is that he is torn. He's not completely done with boxing, because he's uncertain. He's indecisive, right? But if you put gun to head, he'll tell you that, yeah, he's leaning more to be done with it. Like I said, 70-30. 70%, I'm done. 30%, I may come back. His other actions are telling me that he's doing this for money. He's entering this circus show, this clown show for money. Have a 6'1", 6'2", 200-pound, damn near a heavyweight fighting against a 130-pounder. Like I said before, if that's not a circus, then please redefine what a circus is to me so I can get a clearer picture, because that's a circus act. That's like Shaquille O'Neal fighting Naoya Inoue. Yes, I know that's hyperbolic, and the height difference is much bigger than Jake Paul and Tank Davis, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. It's just a boxing match that's not supposed to be made. People assuming that, I'm reading comments, people are like, oh, Tank is gonna knock him out. Tank's not gonna knock out anybody. Not because he can't knock him out, but what do you think he's gonna be able to do with 12-ounce gloves? Now, during the second presser that I watched, the press conference, they mentioned Jake Paul talked about going down to 10-ounce gloves, because there was some kind of discrepancy. I think the trainer for Tank got on the microphone saying that, you guys are making all these bets, but it's basically, in a nutshell, the trainer for Tank is saying, hey, you guys are making all these bets, but it's going to be very difficult to knock out anybody with 12-ounce gloves. So Jake Paul's like, I don't care. We can do 4-ounce gloves or bare knuckle. It doesn't matter to me. Let's do it. So, and by the way, that horn is not for me. That's somebody else back there. Somebody cut somebody else off and they're pissed off and honking their horn. But anyway, yeah, so it may be 12-ounce. They may go to 10. It depends. But I don't think that Tank is gonna knock out Jake Paul. Not because I think Jake Paul has a granite chin. I just think that it's gonna take more from a little man to knock out a big guy like that. And because it's an exhibition fight, I don't think that they're gonna go in all out on each other like that. I think that the earlier parts of the fight are gonna just be both of them filling each other out. You may hear some boos because it's gonna be awkward to see this short 5'5" guy trying to fight this 6'1" guy that's way bigger than him. It's a circus act. I don't know. It's weird. You have a guy who's been fighting for only 5 years, who's trying to stake his claim in the boxing realm as a legitimate boxer. Then you have another boxer who's been doing it all his freaking life. So you have skill against will, and you also have will against skill, because Tank's will is not there, but Jake Paul has some skill. His skill level is getting better with every fight. With the more experience that he gets, the better he gets. Yes, I understand that Tank Davis has the skill and Jake Paul has the will. So both fighters have will and skill. It's just an awkward fight to call. Tank didn't knock out Roach. So this idea that maybe Tank doesn't have it anymore. Like you guys remember what happened to Tyson? At one moment he was just consistent, and he just fell off. Maybe he doesn't have it anymore. Maybe the Roach fight is what exposed him for what he is, and maybe he doesn't. When I say he doesn't have it anymore, the it that I'm talking about is that inner drive, that killer instinct, that monster inside of him. The fact that he took a knee and went to go wipe his face, it doesn't. I don't know. It seems like he's mentally unstable, and I hate to call a guy out like that I don't know, but that's what it seems like. He doesn't want conflict. Like because he's getting hit. The fight is a challenging fight, and it's not going his way, but it was still competitive. So, I'm gonna just take a knee and go wipe my eye and just reset. I don't want to get hit anymore. Like I don't know. At one moment he shows, in glimpses, he shows attributes of a warrior. Then in certain glimpses he shows attributes of a wuss, of a weakling, of the P word that people use for cat. All right, sometimes he acts that way. I'm like, he's such a complicated person to study, because Bud is consistent. Terrence Crawford, you know what you're gonna get with him. He doesn't vacillate, from one end of the extreme to another, and that's what Tank gives me. He gives me a guy that's a killer. He's a fighter. He's a warrior. Then in some certain instances, he's like, I don't want to get hit. My braids got in my eye. My braid juice. He takes a knee and gets upset that fans are booing him when he's given this poor excuse, and he responds to that. So very fickle, very thin-skinned, tries to give off the persona that he's thick-skinned, but he's not. I don't know. I don't know what will motivate Tank to get back into that killer instinct that he once had, but I don't see him. No, it's not going to be a knockout. This is what I think. I think it's going to be a draw. I think that Tank is okay with taking an L on his record against Jake Paul, as long as he gets paid for it. I remember when Tank was about to fight Frank Martin. He was very upbeat, talked a lot of trash, as you expect. He just seemed more lively. Now I saw glimpses of that liveliness insert itself into that second press conference. I saw it. He unveiled it incrementally. He didn't do it consistently as I would like, but that's how I know that he still has love for the game. He may not love the politics of boxing. He may not like the direction that it's going in. But if you've been doing something since you were 7 years old, it's who you are. And you can take yourself away from the sport for a couple of years, but that itch to come back is always going to be there. It's part of who you are. Like, it's called muscle memory. How dare you leave me? This is who you are. If I could personify boxing would have a conversation with Tank and say, hey, leave me, go ahead. You'll be coming back. When you get bored and there's nothing else to do, you are a fighter and nothing else. That's all you've done all your life is fight. What are you going to do? Turn over and you leave and be something else? What else are you going to be? Put on the boxing gloves and get in the ring and box. So that's what I got from that press conference, the second one. It was more exciting. I don't like how Jake Paul continues to insult Tank, calling him dumb. I don't know. I feel like there's some racial undertones there, but that could be me. It's never a good look when a white man is calling a black man dumb. I think he needs to. And I know they're trash talking for the fight, but then at one lens he's calling Tank dumb, and then at one lens it's like, I respect him because he took this fight. So maybe it's just for trash talking purposes, but I think that Jake Paul needs to kind of control how many times he's calling Tank dumb. And Tank doesn't seem to care that he's calling him dumb. That's how I know that he's just there for the money. He's just there for the money. Yeah, so that's my take, guys. I'm going to get you guys' opinion on it. Leave a comment and just tell me what you guys think about the second press conference, comparing it to the first one. All right, till next time, guys. Peace. Take care. I'm out.